your child is upset, you say something to try to make it better, and it gets worse. Suddenly it escalates, and you can't figure it out. What is going on? Typically, when this happens, it's because you responded by saying something that might have been analytical, or maybe you tried to fix it, fix whatever's going on to alleviate their painful feelings. And or maybe they were hard on themselves and you tried to prove that their harsh judgment of themselves wasn't true. They hate their hair and you're like, oh, but, sweetie, I love your curly hair. Or you give them some other piece of evidence that suggests or that proves that what they're saying isn't true. When children are emotionally upset, what they need most of all from us is to feel understood. It's a basic need for all humans and for adults as well. And when it gets met on a regular basis, or at least most of the time, our kids develop a strong sense of self-esteem and self-confidence. When they're upset and they feel like they need to feel understood, if your response doesn't indicate that you get them, their emotions will often escalate. And that's especially true if you have a sensitive and spirited child. So when that happens to you and that emotion escalates, that's your cue to think, whoa, to realize that you've misstepped, and you can take a step back at that point and you can regroup. And what can you do instead? Well, it's important to understand their feelings and their intentions. So that's what you're aiming for, not to try to rescue them from their painful feelings or their experience, but just to try to understand what's going on for them and let them know that you get them, okay? Our kids are born being able to feel fully. They can feel all of their emotions when they're born. And when they need to feel understood, we might need to look more broadly at what's going on with them and try to understand, or we might need to look inward and try to gain some insight as to where we're feeling uncomfortable with their feelings as a result. And we aren't able to support them with that, because if we can't feel the same feelings that they're experiencing, if we aren't capable of feeling those in our own body, we're going to be limited in our ability to understand them. And when we don't recognize those emotions or the experiences that they're having, then they'll eventually shut down their access to those emotions as well. So that's how this tendency gets passed on from generation to generation. So that's why when your child's emotions escalate, even if your intentions are good and you're trying to say something that fixes their feelings, it can backfire on you and end up escalating more. So just remember that when that happens, that's your cue to step back and have a look and see if there's some questions you might be able to ask either yourself or them to understand them a little bit more deeply and to really get inside the experience they're having and let them know that you get them and that you can offer your empathy and your deep understanding for the struggle that they're going through. So that's what I have for you today. That's a little piece actually of something that I teach in one of my courses called Raise Confident Kids. So if you're interested in more, I'll link some similar videos below, and I'll also put a link to that course in case you're interested. Thanks for listening.